Hi, if you've been following along with the series of this exploration piece behind me, I thought it was a good time to stop because you've probably seen a few videos and they probably look like they're not getting anywhere. So I thought I'd just stop and show you my thought process of what I think about while I'm at this point in a painting. Now, I think, as I've said to you before, this piece is not necessarily something I'm wanting to finish. It's more of an exploration of different colors and different marks, but I still put the same kind of thought process into it. So at this point where it's really nowhere, I start looking very clearly at things that just light me up. So if I was to look at this, I've started kind of blocking pieces out. It was very free in the first few layers, which is how I like to begin. I like beginning with absolutely no thought to composition. I just want to get history into the piece. So the little surprises that peek through that make the finish cut, they can only happen for me if I just put layer upon layer. So that's what the background's been about. But now I'm starting to get a little bit more, okay, what bits do I like and what bits do I want to expand on? So if I look through this now, I really enjoy some of these marks that are coming through in the background. If you remember, I started with a lot of these almost like writing marks, and I'm still really loving how they're peeking through. So that's probably something I want to expand. I also quite like some of the color that's happening in this area. I love greens, and just some of these different changes in greens are really lighting me up as well. So that might be something that I start expanding on. These greens going into these kind of lilac-y colors is quite nice. But in terms of the color palette, there's just too much. So I want to find a few things that I want to follow a lot more. Again, I've got from the writing down here, I've got little bits of writing up here. So I like the consistency that happens right across a piece. I've brought in some bright pinks. I don't mind having bright pinks, as you probably know from my work. But in this particular piece, I don't want them to take center stage. So they're there, like this little pop here is quite nice. And something here is quite nice. And I quite like this piece down here. But I don't want them to be really forefront in this. I'm kind of trying to push them a little bit further back. Some of the marks that I'm really enjoying, I love these kind of little marks. As long as they're balanced, it's probably happening, but in the wrong piece because it's kind of central at the moment. But you'll see that I do kind of repeat a lot of these sort of marks in different ways. And I like how they all kind of speak to each other. I also love seeing it underneath come through in transparent layers. So there's lots of like scraping, there's lots of transparents, and there's lots of opaques that are coming through on the different levels. But I really need to find just a few things that I want to push. Like I really love the dark contrast in these bits, with that dark sort of browny color and then all the white over the top. It's happy accidents like that I'll try and expand on as well. So because it is such a big piece, I want to go hard in some areas. So I want to be putting down a lot less in some areas and a lot more in some. So I will probably start just really blocking some stuff out. I call it creating some clear space. I don't just get white paint and just randomly get rid of stuff. I tend to use it more in areas so I can create other shapes that'll just happen. So, and also what I will do is I'll choose some of these light colors. I like having lots of variation in my opaques so that they all sort of speak to each other, these light bluey grays and then the pinks going to creams, going to beiges. I quite like the change in all of that. So that's a little bit about my thought process and how I'm going to be now pushing this in a direction. So I hope you'll stick around with me as I get a little bit closer to the end or somewhere with this exploration.